Check, check. Hello, and welcome back to the show. I'm not dead, although it has been over a year since I released a video with my face. So I actually did record a video a while ago that's hopefully going to be out soon.
Is it recording? Okay, start recording. No one should be expected to work in these circumstances.
Spider-Man. But I recorded that video 2 haircuts ago. So as you can see, the production schedule has not exactly been tight over here. So this is how much of that video is completely done. And that's how much more stuff I need to get through. Uh-oh, gang. But if you decided to stick around long enough to come back to this video, welcome. I'm here to yell about something for a little bit. So Invincible Season 4 ended a little over 2 weeks ago, and the way people have been reacting to it, it seems like the show is still on pretty decent footing. There is unfortunately a very loud, very passionate audience that believes that the animation is garbage. And they're not entirely wrong, but they're talking about it like idiots. Before we get into that, I would just like to say my credentials, which is I animate. If you didn't know, there's some animation videos on this channel. You can go find them and enjoy them. I worked really hard on them. I actually went to college for animation at San Jose State University. And let me find some proof of that. I found a hat. But I'll try to find better proof. If I did, it'll be here. Tsuko, stop. I'm looking for my diploma. It said that I would find some proof that I went to SJSU for animation and illustration.
What are you talking about? You never went there.
Fuck you. But I don't know where my diploma is. Well, I've got the student loan paper right here, so there better fucking be a diploma. It might be at my parents' house. Loans for days. Maybe the loan paper is enough proof. Here you go. It's got SJSU on it. Here you go. Proof.
Injection letter.
The thing about animation that really grinds my gears is that nobody knows how it works or why they should be upset, but they all have opinions about why it doesn't work, and that sucks. The thing is that animation is a lot more complicated than drawing don't look so good this time, and drawing don't move enough. And that's a PNG, right? That PNG is sliding across the screen. This is trash. It's so much more complicated than that. The people who have no idea how complicated it is are the loudest about what they don't like about it. So let's get some things out of the way. It is not evil and bad for a character to not move every single time they are on screen. 3D animation does require a certain amount of ambient movement because when you can see all of the soft shading and the edges of a 3D object, it looks strange when it's completely still. 2D animation does not have that problem. If you enjoy anime, if you enjoy anything 2D animated, there will always be hold frames. These hold frames are places where the character does not move that much because in real life, you don't move that much doing these things. The problem comes when hold frames are used in places they shouldn't be, when ambient movement should be happening. We'll get into that later. The primary argument that I hear from so many of these haters on Invincible Season 4 is, well, look at Jujutsu Kaisen. This show has a fraction of the budget, and yet it looks so much better. I mean, what are they doing over there at the Invincible studio? And what they're doing is paying their workers a living wage. So that's about the extent of that. If you don't want your animators working for slave wages and living in their office, you shouldn't be using Jujutsu Kaisen as an example of what should be done. So now we've addressed the main problems with the criticisms of Invincible Season 4. But I said at the outset that I do kind of agree with these people, just not in the way that they say it, because the way they say it was stupid. The thing is that the animation is bad in Invincible Season 4, and it's not really something that I can excuse. In Season 3 of Invincible, they kind of established this precedent that we'll save the budget for one or two big fights so that when those one or two big fights come, it's expressive and interesting and explosive. But for the rest of the show, the animation will be a little bit shoestring. It'll be kind of not lazy, but not well funded. And that was funny and that was fine. But the thing is that Invincible is supposed to be a flagship show for Amazon Prime. This is supposed to be the show that convinces you to buy a Prime subscription. This and The Boys and like maybe the Critical Role animated shows are the big selling points of the entire streaming service. So why does it look like this? Why do the promos for the show look super expressive and very well animated, and then the show itself is squeaking by with this? In season 4? Season 4, guys, characters sliding around the screen, movement super limited to just mouth movement, not even mouth movement sometimes it's just still images as the characters think at each other really hard. That's just not really acceptable for a multi-million-dollar show produced by a company with more money than God. And for the love of God, can we stop putting the character sheet images in as still standing poses? It's so noticeable and it's so hard to take seriously. Like, can we just draw a new standing pose, please? Again, I don't blame the animators. It's not their fault. The team is too small. They need more workers. And there's workers out there. Whoa, hey, there's workers out there that would be willing to work on Invincible. Amazon, if you just throw us a bone, we will come and work for you. I know at least 10 out of work animators who would happily animate on Invincible. I live with at least 2 of them. Now, at this point, you might be saying, Cole, it sounds like you're just saying all the same stuff that those people you just criticized are saying about the show. But I think there's an important distinction. I know why the show looks like this. It's because the team is minuscule. This last season, someone who worked on the team kind of accidentally let slip on social media that the compositing team for the entire show is made up of 4 people. 4 single human beings compositing every single frame of this 8-episode-long season of television. That is unbelievable. For those that don't know, compositing is the glue that sticks an entire 2D animated project together. Taking the animation, taking the backgrounds, taking the effects, and stitching them together into a finished project. The compositors are often responsible for lighting and color grading every single scene in a show. So when you have a team of 4 people working on a show that has thousands of shots per episode, you get flat lighting. You get a complete lack of color script. You get episodes that feel like they come from a much less funded show. And it's because there just simply isn't the manpower to do what the show is capable of doing. This is why you get things like fan edits of people recompositing Invincible and saying, oh, well, I did this while working a full-time job. Why can't the Invincible team do it? You recompositing a couple of seconds of a single shot is not the same as 4 people having to composite an entire episode on one of the tightest animation turnaround deadlines I've ever seen. And speaking of deadlines, that isn't excusing another big argument for the show's quality. Oh, do you want it to take 3 years for the next season? Remember when we had to wait super long for season 2? Do you want that to happen again? No. I don't want to wait 3 years for the season. No one likes to wait for things that they like. But the thing is that it shouldn't take 3 years. They just need to hire more people. If the Invincible team was twice as large, the show could be produced at a much higher level of fidelity in the same amount of time. It's a simple mathematics problem, and the only reason that it's not happening that way is because Amazon is too cheap to hire a big team. Why hire 40 people when you can get the job done with 20? Even if the job is worse, the job is done and they're still watching. That's the real problem at the root of all of this, is that Amazon thinks that we will accept a show that is full of animation glitches and cut corners because we are. We're still watching. I'm not advocating that we stop watching the show, but I think it's important to communicate to Amazon that if the fidelity of the show doesn't improve, people are going to stop watching. This show is your flagship, Amazon. If you want people to keep watching it, it needs to look like a flagship. It doesn't need to look like a dinghy. Anyway, all this to say, this is mostly just an excuse for me to talk about a show that I really like. Invincible is an incredible show and comic. I've read the whole thing. The story is being adapted beautifully. I think Robert Kirkman and the story team are really nailing a balance between what was in the comics and what's going to be in the show. The changes are all wonderful. And really, honestly, I love this show. It's why I'm so up in arms about my criticisms. This show that I love deserves animation worthy of the story that's being told. When the animation is cutting corners, the story suffers. I like to imagine an Invincible where every fight scene is as well animated and as entertaining to watch as the Conquest fight scenes. I'd like to imagine an Invincible where not just the fight scenes, but the acting, the animation of the conversations enthralls me just as much as an action sequence. It is nearly unforgivable that such a well-acted and well-written scene as Debbie confronting Nolan was relegated to having animation that looked like this.
I hope you can accept the fact that I'm man enough to tell you this.
If you want to see an example of what I think Invincible should look like, look no further than the season promos. They do it every season. It's Mark sitting with another character in the diner and having a conversation. And it's just a conversation. It's not an action sequence. It's not a knockdown, drag out fight. It's not that exciting. It's just two characters talking to each other. And every little bit of that scene is perfectly animated. Can you imagine if the whole show looked like this? I thought that's what the show was going to look like in season 2 when they released the first diner promo. I was like, wow, look at the show that we're going to get for the next 4 to 8 years. And Invincible hasn't been that show. I'm hoping that Amazon learns their lesson from this season, because we're going to get about 4 more seasons of Invincible, if I had to guess. And I would like those seasons to look like Invincible deserves to look. Anyway, hopefully that other video will be out soon. I think I'm going to try to release it close to the release of Spider-Man Brand New Day. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe and come back for that video. I also have been posting speed draws and comics on my TikTok and my Instagram account. So if you like comics, or you like speed draws, or you like animations, make sure to head over there. I'm not dead, and hopefully I'll be posting more often in the future. Have a good one.
And this by far is the hardest thing I think I've ever had to do. To tell you, the woman I love, that I'm having a baby by a woman that I barely even know. I hope you can accept the fact
I made too many mistakes.
My girl Debbie deserves at least one scene in this whole show where she is animated with as much care as a murderous, genocidal bald man. That's all I'm saying.